And welcome to the Diablo podcast, your home for Diablo diehards, tryhards, casual, and hardcore alike. I am your host, Xanth, and I am joined today by my lovely co-hosts, Nerdwords
Hello.
and Nineball.
Oh, hi.
And it is November 3rd. We are close to 1 month post Vessel of Hatred release. I thought we'd get together and kind of do a little bit of a post-mortem, a little bit on how, after a month, the game is feeling, reactions to various content that we didn't really get a chance to talk about, Undercity, Dark Citadel, so on and so forth, and speculate on what the mid-season patch could or couldn't do. Um, but up first, I mean, what have you guys been playing, both Diablo and non-Diablo, since launch?
As we were talking about in the pre-show right before we recorded, we're almost a little bit late because I was playing the Monster Hunter Wilds beta. So that's been a lot of fun, and I'm sad to see it go, and that I have to wait till February.
Yeah, yeah, me. I've not. I really want to love Monster Hunter. It looks awesome. I've just never gotten into it, and I need to make myself sit down and play it a little bit. But no, I've been, a little bit of Diablo. Work's picked up quite a bit recently, but also doing a little bit of WoW here and there. But mostly just WoW and Diablo still at this point.
So, I was sharing off, pre-show as well. I've been dabbling and alternating between Diablo and Metaphor ReFantazio, which is if you have not taken a look at it, it's a great JRPG that I don't know, it captured my imagination and my heart so far, and I'm gonna ride this thing out. But we're not here to talk about other games. We're here to talk about Diablo. Um, let's hit it from the things we missed last time, right? There were certain parts when we got together, we talked predominantly story, right? Had a little bit more time to go in to play around with how things are. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the Spiritborn. Have either of you guys gotten a chance to play Spiritborn now that we're a little bit more removed? Of course
Negative.
not.
I still haven't.
No.
No, yeah, I still haven't. I
Uh,
plan to, but I'm not done with the Sork yet. But no, I
I,
still haven't.
I not even on my radar, to be honest.
Neither. Seriously,
Mm,
wow.
It's shrinking from my radar as well. I will say,
Yeah,
not for any negative reason, just
it's
seasons.
not a necromancer.
We're further into the season, and I don't. Yeah, I'm not done with the Sork yet. Like, there's still plenty more I still want to do on the Sork. So, yeah.
Wow. I am genuinely surprised by that. I feel like they are so ubiquitous that I'm just impressed that neither one of you, and nine ball less so. This is more towards you, Nerdwords. And I'm curious if any other listener out there is like, oh, I also have never played a Spiritborn and I have no intention. Please let me know. I am not of the strong convictions. I don't think I could do that. Okay.
I still intend at some point. Just gonna be a while for sure.
Guess it will be. Okay, well, you haven't played them. That's okay. Have you gotten a sense for their power levels? Have you gotten a
Oh
sense
yeah.
for what they're doing?
Yes, I have, moderately browsed Diablo content on the internet.
Which at this point, I want to say we gave barbarians a lot of shit, and I gave
I'm
barbarians a
about to
lot
say,
of
I think
shit.
that was more of a Xanth thing. Yeah.
I shit on barbarians a lot because at the time it felt so egregious, and
How you feeling now?
I mean, screw barbarian. No, I can't hold that position anymore. I would say the spirit board has taken it to a completely new level. It is beyond the pale in terms of that class disparity. So when I got the opportunity to hang out with Rod Ferguson on Kind of Funny, he mentioned how the pit was a metric for balancing classes, right? That they were looking to use it in that manner to keep things somewhat balanced, right? Obviously, nothing's ever going to be perfect.
Hmm.
So let's use that as a metric. Let's use the pit as a metric. What's the highest level of the pit?
150. Is it a pop
One,
quiz?
Yeah, it's 150. Um, what's the only class who's done a 150?
ooh, is it the druid?
It's the
Oh,
druid, really.
we're we're gonna come back to them. Uh, don't worry. Okay. So you are correct. 150. Uh, this
It should be pointed out that it's not even that it's just that they're the only class that clears 150. They also clear like 150 with ease.
Mm.
sub 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Sub 2 minutes. So the highest level content in the game is being cleared by a Spiritborn in under 2 minutes. Eyeball, since you brought up the Druid, let's talk about Druid. And what do you want to guess the highest pit level for a Druid?
I have no
Legitimately
idea.
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
And why would you?
The
Because
only one that I
no
know
one's
is
paying attention.
Spiritborn, by the way.
It's the only one that matters. Druid is a 108. 108. And time on that, it's like 1408. It's just barely. They did their best. And honestly, hey, good on them because it's better than me. But that's a gap, guys. That's a big
Just
old gap.
slightly.
A little bit.
I believe, and I would need to pull it up, and I only got these two hands. Uh, the pit level, the next highest pit level, I think, is a 120 from another class.
Pretty
Want to
intense.
say Sork, but I could be wrong.
Uh, Sork is
Uh,
up there. It's pretty close. It's not
uh, I'm
not near
seeing
Spiritborn, but
113 for Rogue, 118 for Barbarian, and then 120 for both the Sorcerer and the Necromancer.
Necro. Yeah,
Yeah,
sounds right.
with the
Look,
Necro just a minute ahead of the Sork.
look at that, a little preliminary research, and I've got it memorized up here. Um, but I'm not gonna. I don't want to math. I don't want to math too hard on this podcast, guys. But I'm gonna math a bit here. 120 is about 30 levels lower than 150, about give or take.
I'm following,
You know,
following.
and what I'm hearing is we got two 120s, a 118, a fucking 108. Those are all within. I mean, that 108 is closer to the 120 than the 120 is to the 150,
True.
You
right?
know, when you put it like that, yeah.
So that feels more balanced. Now the 108 to the 150, oh crap, that's out of its league.
Just this random leaderboard that I pulled up online. The best Necro clear at the 120 is rank 419 on the leaderboard. And that's just for people that submit the runs, because this doesn't pull like API data.
Right. And let's come back to this for just 1 second, because you brought up something that is a worthy conversation. Hey, do you remember leaderboards?
Yeah. Yep.
They're gone. Um, just in the blink of an eye, like at no point, just like, oh, we don't have them anymore. Maybe they'll be back. The pit would be a good place for it. It'd be great if we actually was just logged in the game when you did it instead of having to submit. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going on a tangent. Let's come back to it. Swing it on back. 150 to 120. That's a big gap, guys. That's not good. Uh, so here comes the hard question. 1 month in, You guys, Spiritborn oblivious. Don't care, not going to affect you in any way. So that's where I think maybe your opinion matters most. You have no pony in the race. No horse in the race. There it is. Who's racing ponies, right? It's no horse in the race.
Hobbits.
Yeah, good old Hobbit races. Um, should the Spiritborn be nerfed in the mid-season patch?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I don't know. Like you say, it doesn't affect us. I will say that like everyone is affected by the Spiritborn if you play Diablo 4 anywhere that isn't in a dungeon or an instance place. Um, if you run through the open world, if you're at a world boss, whatever, like if you're with Spiritborn, like it changes the experience. Like a good example, I have a buddy who plays Spiritborn. So it like I've gotten to where I don't like grouping with him because it like a lot of the content in the game, which I know we're going to talk about a little bit later too, feels really good and really fun when it's like me and one of my friends who's playing like a barb or a necro or a rogue, right? When I get a Spiritborn in the group, everything just becomes trivialized. I don't think that's his fault. That's not the class's fault. Obviously, it's a design flaw right now. It's a bug, and
I think it's Leviathan's fault, and we talked about that.
I mean, I don't know. I just like it for me. Like, do I think it needs to be nerfed? No. This isn't a competitive game. There's no leaderboards, right? So like there's no competitiveness other than the own competitive nature created by players. And in that regard, then I don't give a shit. And I could just choose not to play with my buddy if it's really bugging me that much. But that's a silly reason not to play with your friends, right? That said, I could also see there being a reason to nerf it if they feel like it's really that far out of whack and they're trying to make it something that is thought of as competitive and balanced. So it's really depending on the design intent, but we know they don't like to ruin their fun, and if they nerf it, there's gonna be like a bunch of really butthurt people. So I don't know. I see valid points on both sides. I'm not particularly invested. Yeah, I'm enjoying the expansion so far, like one way or the other, but yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It is a tough question.
I would say, does the Spiritborn need to be nerfed? Yes. In the mid-season patch, no.
Sure.
Let people play with their toys and stuff like that. And mid-season patch is just where you introduce like new stuff in order to get people to want to come back and like pick their characters back up. Maybe they put the game down, or they need that little bit of the carrot in order to keep going for like another couple of weeks or months in order to get through the rest of the season. And I don't think you want to make that have a negative experience for what's obviously like the most popular class right now. Everybody's playing Spiritborn. So
except for apparently us.
except for the two of us exclusively worldwide. But I don't think that there's anybody out there that really thinks that the Spiritborn doesn't need to be nerfed. But don't. That's season 7. Don't do it with the mid-season patch. Obviously they nerfed the evade bug because that was a bug and it was causing performance issues for other people. So obviously that had to be addressed. As long as there's not any other like game code issue related stuff, then just leave it be and make your tweaks for the next season. It doesn't impact me, that they're just like so above and beyond other people, and it doesn't need to be balanced to the point where it's like super competitive. Because even if you look at like Diablo 3, where people were like really happy with like the level of balance that had achieved, towards the end of its life cycle. And you're looking at like the Greater Rift clears, like 5 Greater Rift clears was double the amount of damage that you needed to do because things had double the amount of health. So between like a 140 and 145, you're literally twice as effective as the other people. And there'd be maybe like 20ish levels between like you'd have like a 140 and 120 before things got really crazy, and then everybody could clear 150. But right. People were happy with like maybe like a 10 level difference, which is like 4 times the amount of damage. So it's not like it has to be like that obscene, but it's like definitely one of those things that just the fact that one, that the pit 150 was reachable already. Obviously issues, red flags there. And two, just so above and beyond, every other class is also like an issue. Because if you look at it, like 120 to 108, sure, Druid needs some buffs, but that you could be happy with like the spread on the rest of those numbers, But the whole like 30 levels ahead, and it's only 30 levels because it's capped at 150, but they obviously be what, 170, 180, 190.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The fact that they're doing sub 2 minute
yeah.
150s and the Druid is down to the last possible second on a 108. It, there's a big gap there. I personally would like to see a mid-season nerf. I don't think it will happen. Um, just to shake the class up a bit. I think there's a lot of cool tools in there. If it was brought down from a power level to about where everybody else is at, there's always going to be a meta, right? That won't change, but you might break out at least a little bit because at the moment, if you're not playing that build, it doesn't feel right. Um, whereas if I were to jump, and I know if you're to jump into a different class, you have more options. There's always still a right one. It's just this one's so many leagues ahead, even in its own class. Like, why would you ever play like a gorilla based build if you could just do the quill volley, right? Like, you're always going to choose that because you know it's leagues ahead. If I'm playing a druid, I already know I'm trash. I may as well just be fun trash, I guess. Yeah, I'll just slap this crap together. It's fine. It's fine. It doesn't matter. 108, right? Uh, but from a spirit board, I have to play that. I don't have to play it, but I'm gonna play it because it's effective. And man, is it fun. It's still very fun. I would like to see it brought down. I would like to see this class kind of shake out a little bit. I don't think it will. I think you guys are absolutely right. I don't think it will. They don't have a tendency to do that. But I've been wrong before. I've been wrong. So we will see. Uh, at the moment, I've killed 2 Spiritborn. I need to roll another one, so they're not
I'm being
all that
goaded
great.
into I'm being goaded into leveling a Spiritborn so that I can quote smash higher level uh pit faster so you can grind Paragon faster. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not interested in that like at all. That's like it's like kind of the equivalency of like rat runs, like when everyone's like, okay, level a Necromancer and make that grind your Paragon for you while you play the character you actually want to play. It's like, nah. Or Diablo 2, level a Sorcerer so you can magic find so you can fund the rest of your account. Yeah, but this one's just like the power level is insane.
It is something. I think it is scaled a little too much, and I
There's a
think it's
decimal place off somewhere
I
or
think it's
something.
also it's a reflection of I think the work that everybody put in on the PTR. The one thing that didn't, or the one class that didn't get tested there, obviously because it was the expansion, was the Spiritborn. Not too surprising that when everything comes out, to see everybody at least closely aligned, and then the Spiritborn out of whack. You just didn't have as many eyes on it. Not as many people breaking it. So yeah, we will see. Um, I'm very curious to see what this one brings. One of the common criticisms that I've seen on Reddit, obviously, uh, is pointing out that this hasn't felt as much like an expansion. It has
Mhm.
felt more akin to a new season. And we're sitting here, we're a month in. I've probably played uh, more Diablo than I can count. I can go check the hours, I suppose. But there is a little bit of that. There is a little, I think, like the brevity of the story and the season mechanic being like kind of marginal. it does feel a little more seasony than game-changingly expansive, I guess. Do you guys get the same sentiment? I'm not saying it is 100% on, but I can see the argument.
So maybe not exactly the same sentiment, but
Yeah.
it definitely feels like it for sure. The fact that I want to take my time, dedicate my original playthrough to playing through the story, not being able to carry over my original character to play through the original campaign and then into the expansion campaigns, just starting over from level 1 and having to play both the season and the campaign at the same time. And so like I'm just trying to focus on the main quest, and then it's like Realm Walker in 5 minutes. I did kind of appreciate that it doesn't unlock the Tree Whispers and such until after the campaign, though I have some complaints that they put it too far out to unlock those things. Like once you complete the campaign, then just turn on the features. I don't need to be reintroduced to the Tree of Whispers.
No, but you have to learn, Nine.
Yeah, but you can just turn it. You can just turn it on at that point. It's fine. But it definitely it was very much, especially because I had like very limited playtime at the very beginning, Hurricane and all those type of stuff. That it was that I felt bad taking my time, listening to the NPCs, going and interacting with all the optional quest dialogue, because it's like I'm following so far behind. Like I haven't started, doing, XYZ or, leveling. I haven't like started leveling my glyphs. I haven't done this. I haven't done that. I'm not doing any of these things. And it just felt like I was being pulled in way too many directions, which was then detrimental to me just wanting to, be embraced by the story of the campaign, which, as we talked about, was a little on the short side and had a unsatisfactory ending. And I really wish that there would be some sort of gap between, the season and the expansion launch, so that way I can just focus on the expansion and its story and not then also have to worry about leveling my seasonal character and the journey and all other types of stuff, while I'm going through.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you. Like, for me, I mean, there's plenty of expanded content in this, right? Like, there's a lot of things that we have that we did not have prior to the expansion, and a lot of changes to the core systems of the game, too, that we got for this expansion. They get overshadowed by the fact that we have a really, like, pretty meh season. I think starting at the same time was a mistake. I think it's less that we didn't get an expansion. We got an expansion. I mean, like... Yeah. Realistically, the story in Lord of Destruction didn't take any long. Like, it wasn't like super long and robust. Good story, right? Super fun, but like you get through it in a couple hours. Wasn't a big deal. The campaign isn't about like the length as much. I think like Nine said, it's the ending. It's kind of the unsatisfactory like conclusion to that story, paired with the season. But I mean, I think there's plenty of content we've gotten. Is I think that, like Nine said, they should have just delayed the start of the season a month, right, or 2 weeks or something, like some sort of stopgap. And I think honestly, probably a month. I think 2 weeks probably would have been too short too. I don't know. That's me though. I don't feel like it's.
I do like the way that you put it though. That we definitely have we got like an expansion's worth of content out of it. We got a whole new zone. We had a bunch of
and the
new
zone's
features,
beautiful.
redesigned.
It's awesome.
Yeah. It is absolutely amazing. You were going through and mentioning the stronghold. The what was it?
Yes. Festering Dark.
Festering Dark. That's it. The Festering Dark. Absolutely amazing. My favorite place. Yeah, can't wait. I want to be a raid. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the coolest dungeons for sure.
Yeah. And then it has like so much actual depth of story. The NPCs there have lots of dialogue to get you in and find out what happened and such. And it's dialogue that refers to Diablo 3. It actually exists. That game did take place at some point. It didn't just jump from Diablo 2 to Diablo 4. Yep. So yeah, there's a lot of like really great things. I love how they broke up the levels between the Paragon system and the regular levels. Feels a lot better, honestly, at least to me. So I also found myself liking how they're doing like the glyphs with the pit. Yes, it's very Greater Rifts,
It's super greater rift, yeah, yeah.
but Greater Rifts did it well. So
Yep, right, exactly. Right.
yeah,
That's how I've felt since launch. It's just I have my own feeling about the grind of it, but
yeah.
that's a whole different thing. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
You brought up something with the new version of Paragon, right?
Mm.
You don't interact with it that much, I would imagine, because you guys haven't made new characters in a while. I I've died a few times.
No.
I know.
No, the overpowered Spiritborn, Xanth.
I know. It can be overpowered. I'm still going to be bad. Um, I will state that with the Paragon system as it is, and I'm sitting there and I've got like, I don't know, Paragon 170 or something on my hardcore character. It's leveling 1 to 60 feels exactly like Diablo 3 now, once I have those
Mm.
Paragon's points in place. If I didn't have a massive amount of them right away, it would be different. But now it feels very Diablo 3-esque, where like I want to rush from 1 to 60 as fast as I can because that's where everything's going to be. And I'm going to get a whole bunch of stuff I need to use right away. All my good gears there, yada, yada, yada. And I don't know how I feel about it yet. I'm still digesting it. Because one part of me wants to like rush through it. I want to get there. That's where all my work is, and it feels good to get back to it. The other part of it is like, well, then 1 to 60 doesn't matter. And that doesn't feel good because like now I'm wasting my time doing anything that isn't a post 60 content. I don't know. I'm still, like I said, I don't hate it, but I didn't feel really good when I was like on my second death going, who do I know that can power level me through this? Because I don't need to do 1 to 60. There's going to be no value. It doesn't get me Paragon, and it provides no gear that I could actually use. There's no chance of a random resplendent spark showing up as I'm leveling. There's, I mean, materials, but that has no value because I'll
Sounds
get
like you
more of
shouldn't
them now.
die.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I get like there's that punishment to it,
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole point.
but it just
He
doesn't.
wants he wants the punishment to be worse, is what he's
Oh,
saying.
okay, got it, got it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Is
in
that
some
yeah?
respects, I don't want 1 to 60 not to matter. I guess I think that's the thing. It is a part of your character's journey. At least when we in the older system, that was you. Like you're 10 Paragon points in by the time you get to, well, not 10, but you're 40, I guess. Um, by the time you get to
Hmm.
level 60, you're on the journey to 100. I don't know. Something just doesn't feel right. Is that just me? Is that just me
I
being
mean,
bad?
we don't play hardcore and we haven't leveled alts, so we definitely can't commiserate with you here. We'll just have to
yeah.
take your word for it.
I mean,
So,
the times that I've leveled alts, it's definitely it was more or less the same feeling. That was just like, man, I really need to get to level 80 so that way I can have like these 3 4 glyphs set up, to actually like fully start having the build, like getting a flesh eater, ascent of death, and such online in order to make things start working.
mm.
So for me, it was very much the same thing. That it's like I'm not enjoying the journey in order to get there. So them shortening that journey and then just giving you your toys like right when you get to 60, I think at least for me, like, theoretically feels a lot better.
Yeah, I do have experience leveling other people's alts. Which my frustration with that is that when I have leveled someone else's alts and I'm not playing a Spiritborn, it's harder to complete the levels, so I have to lower it to a point to where I can't really benefit from the upgrades of glyphs anymore. So now I don't want to power level my friends, Blizzard, and that's not good. Yeah, I don't know. I think that like it's definitely become more like the new power level meta is just have a friend sit in the pit level while you run it. That's a very Diablo 3 thing as well too, right? Except for regular rifts instead of greater rifts, depending. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't experienced that yet. I will, because I do plan to play the Evoker. Oh my God, the Spiritborn. Wrong game. Before it's over, but not there yet. Still, I'm not even like I'm close to Paragon 250. The grind is. I told myself I'm gonna hit Paragon 300 before I level an alt, and I'm like, man, I don't know. It is a slog out there for sure, and my playtime is shrinking with holiday season ramping up.
Yeah, I think in bringing that up, I like that there is. It will take me a while to get to Paragon 300 if I even do this season. I like that. I just don't like the 1 to 60 to get to that. If that as a part of the curve, like it's technically not even there. It's not you're not even starting it. Um, so you want to be power leveled. I was excited to kind of run through the campaign as my leveling strategy because it's pretty smooth. You level up pretty quickly. But even that pales in comparison, where I'm just like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what to do outside of sit in somebody else's pit.
That's it. That's
That's
what
a
you do.
Xanth. That's a Xanth struggle. I'm sorry for bringing that on you guys. You don't have to deal with it. That's just my world. Um, okay. Let's take a pause. I got a reader question um a while ago. And unfortunately, just I never got to bring it up because a listener, maybe you only read the transcripts. You go to Apple,
I
you
am
take
sorry in advance,
you take a
reader.
look at your transcripts. But we got a listener question, and I couldn't do it on the Jason Schreier interview, and I couldn't do it when we were talking about lore. So here we are. So my apologies to you, Absolute 0314, which I think is probably like pi, right? 3.14. Here I am mathing again. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to do that. But Absolute Zero wrote in with a question for us. So let's do our first ever listener question. And if we ever get another one, I will come up with some sort of song or jingle for this bit. But if it never happens again, then it's a flash in the pan. If you do want to email me, you can find my email on the Twitter, uh, hczanth at gmail. That's it. That's real simple. So shoot your questions and your hate mail my way. Okay. I'm not gonna read all the email because he did write a lot, but uh, the question focuses on weapons. So while the Spiritborn will be introducing some martial art styles and glaives into the game, do you think it would be possible for the developers to add in some fist or claw melee weapons, much akin to some of the weapons that the assassin from D2 and the monk from D3 use in their setups? Apart from the claws, some of the other ideas I think would be cool is to see some sort of whip-like weapon, whether it be chains or leather, uh, bladed boomerangs, and of course the explosive bullets from the Demon Hunter 2. What kind of weapons would you like to see in the game? I'm going to start. I want to see a throwable spear. I want a throwable spear. I want a javelin. I want something like that. I think that'd be pretty sweet. Gentlemen?
So I've always really, I've always really liked the idea of a mage of any kind, be it wizard or sorcerer or whatever, um, not having a weapon. Like their weapon is their focus, like their arcane focus, whatever it is. Um, I actually wish there would be a way to not have a weapon, but not lose the power that you lose from not having a weapon. I think because the idea of a sorcerer, like themselves is the weapon, like you are the weapon is the idea. But other than that, I mean, I definitely think claws would be pretty cool. You'd have to have a classic could actually like use them effectively. But flaws, yeah.
Which I mean, honestly, is probably like the biggest thing that holds them back from introducing like new weapon types and such, is
Yeah.
because they'll introduce new weapon types when they introduce new classes.
Yeah,
You know,
like an unarmed barb's not a thing, right? So, like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Though it would be cool that if they go through and they when they do introduce like some weapon types, like say whether it be the monk or the assassin, and they introduce those kind of like fist weapons, like the actual like katars are exclusive to the assassin, but then like a cestus or something along those lines would actually be available to like other classes, like a barbarian or something.
Mm.
Like that would actually be pretty cool. I I it's like I kind of have what I want already, but I don't. And that is the necromancer's weapon is a knife. It's a dagger, not a scythe. And like I get it. I understand. I know why they went with scythes. It is very necromancer. That's the archetype. But in Diablo, they use daggers. Specifically, they have a special relationship and connection with daggers. That's like the pinnacle of the necromancer weapons, and there's not really any special necromancer daggers. So that's more or less what I want. And past that, it would be like the spirit borns, kind of halberd weapon type. It would be the only other thing that I would.
Yeah. Also, side note: wands are stupid, and this isn't Harry Potter. Continue.
Sure. I don't have strong wand opinions. But
I do.
that's cool. There is
Big wand opinions.
There is one more question that Absolute Zero has provided. And Nimbo, you can't answer this one. Is it
Oh,
true that in Wisconsin, water fountains are frequently called bubblers? And to
I'm gonna
answer that
say
question,
true.
yeah, that is true. I don't
I've
use it.
lived here. Hang on. I've lived here, verging on 5 years. Never have I ever heard someone say that ever in my life. But
Well,
that said, Xanth has a lifetime of experience.
that is true.
Yeah.
So it is pretty frequent. I don't use that term. I personally don't like it. I think it's stupid. It's a drinking fountain. And whenever I hear a student say, "Can I go to the bubbler?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Mm. See,
It
I was
makes
thinking
no
like a fountain,
sense.
like an ornamental fountain, like with
No,
statues, like spitting water and
Yeah.
stuff. You meant like
no,
a water fountain. They call them bubblers.
they do. Uh, it,
That's interesting.
it's stupid. But it is a thing. It is much more northern Wisconsin. But it's really located here. I don't know why. There is some history. You can look it up. No one actually knows the true origin. There's general thought is it was a brand of Kohler drinking fountains called bubblers,
Mhm.
but that is not officially confirmed. This is a Diablo podcast. It is not a drinking fountain podcast.
This just reminds me of this factoid that I read this past week, that the usage of the term pop is dying off, and that
We need to bring it back.
Coke is taking up a larger and larger share of the verbiage in the USA, and that the little holdouts that said pop are shrinking over time over the last 20 years.
Blame the South. I blame the South.
For the rise of
I'll take
Coke,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Brief horror story. Moved to the South when I was very young, and we called everything pops. But down there, everyone made fun of you for calling things pop. So went to the break area and asked for, I would like a Coke. And they said, okay. And they gave me a Pepsi. And they were like, there you go. And I went, what is this? This isn't, because everything was a Coke. When I said, when
Everything
you
was
say,
Coke.
I want a Coke, they say, what kind? No, 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 no. That's why I order always now Coca-Cola Classic. That way everyone knows exactly. There is no.
So we got pop, and I've heard of that in the South that they say Coke, which makes no
Coke.
sense to
Yeah.
me.
What's your favorite
Uh,
Coke? Mountain Dew. What?
no, what?
That's
Yeah.
such a confusing statement. That's
Nope, nope.
yeah. Yep.
That's, what about soda?
Never hear it. Never
No,
hear it. It is
No.
rare.
is that like see? That's what I grew up hearing was soda, and yeah, occasionally pop, but soda was predominantly the one that we would reference.
Yep.
All right, well, I'm learning new things. Um,
I just call it what it is. Whatever it is, I call it that.
just call it by its brand name, and you should be okay. I hope.
Yep.
Okay. That was the Diablo podcast listener mail section, and
Bubblers.
I think we're ready to do it again if you email on it. Okay. Let's make a nice transition to newer things. Let's talk Dark Citadel. Now, as of last night, I know Nineball, you had yet to do it. Did that change?
That did not change. So I can start the
Yeah,
conversation by having not experienced it, because I'm just like antisocial by nature, and I will get uh, uh, I guess like imposter syndrome, I guess would be the closest thing to call it. That I will be afraid to jump into like a public matchmaking because I'm going to fail, and so I just have had no inclination in order to try and go through and do it, because I haven't gotten a friends group together in order to go through and try and tackle it. And so it doesn't even come up on my radar right now.
Nineball, you should just watch me play with some randoms, and you will understand that your confidence, or I should say, lack of confidence, is not
Oh,
needed. They
I,
are,
I fully understand. I appreciate that it is not challenging and that you can just kind of like walk through it and all the type of stuff. I get it. I
no,
understand.
no.
I just
I'm just saying
doesn't.
Not true.
these, no, these randoms are
No.
just really bad
Yeah.
at noticing anything. I think you would do just fine. Most not. I don't do the Dark Citadel on hardcore. I only do it on softcore. Um, so antisocialness aside, uh, do you want to do it? Like if we like, their words of myself where it's like,
Sure.
hey, okay, okay,
You can
Sure.
do it. Knock it out.
yeah, we can make that happen. Look at that. Look at this. We just
Done.
we made a Dark Citadel happen. Um, but now let's see if we can talk you out of it with complaints. I'm kidding, but I'm not. Uh, Dark Citadel. Uh, in other words, you've done it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I've done it every week.
You do it more than once a week.
No, that's not the point. You're supposed to do it once a week. It's like a raid. You do it once a week. Then
Maybe.
you get your reward, and then you do it next on reset. You wait till Tuesday, do it every reset. That's it. That's it.
Would you do more of this content?
Yeah, I would.
But you won't do it more than once a week.
There's no point. You don't get anything for it.
You can get. So I feel like we're going into a conversation. Let's get some clarity. Dark Citadel, if you've not done it, like Nineball, um, it is a raid-like encounter that requires two people at the minimum to go through three separate wings. Each wing is its own instance with a boss at the end and various mechanics that require, again, two or more people. During that time, you'll fight some bosses, get a few pouches with coins that can be exchanged for cosmetics and some potions,
Buffs
what have
and
you, right?
consumables. Yep.
That can um, be kind of nice. That can only be, you know, acquired through that content. Um, and then at the end, if you do all three wings once a week, you get a nice little pouch filled with more goodies, right? That's your dark side. But Everyone's only is going to do it once a week. Are the
Yeah.
cosmetics not as much of a push for you?
Well, honestly, the cosmetics are kind of trash. And they're weapon cosmetics, which I care very little about because, like I said before, I try to look like I don't have a weapon as much as I can. So, yeah, I'm not really into the weapons as much. The content's fun. I think the content's cool. It's not super challenging once you're like super geared, min-maxed, all that stuff, or if you just have a friend who just,
Spirit
power
burns
level
their
to
way through.
Spirit Born, right? Yeah. But like when if it was like me, my Barb friend, and my Necro friend, like that was doing that on Torment 4 the first time was fun. It was hard, and there were moments that were like, whoa, okay, okay, got it. Like trying to figure out the mechanics and stuff. Um, I equate it more to strikes in Destiny than raids in WoW. It's very minial like puzzles, like pick up orb. Okay, go stand on the orb colored thing, and then it lights up. Oh, cool! Now there's a portal. Go through the portal. Okay, cool. It's less like raid stuff where there's like gear checks where like you actually have to have a certain threshold of ability to do what you're doing. It's not hard in that sense, but there are mechanics that'll wipe you. The impending doom mechanic, but I think that's also really cool. I think it's a cool mechanic. I also, again, am a sorcerer main and have been since Diablo 1. So being in the Dark Citadel has like just a different feeling for us mage types because it's really cool. Yeah, I think it's awesome. I like doing it once a week, but I also play World of Warcraft as well and have for a long time, and I like that kind of content. I don't expect it in my Diablo games, but I'm enjoying it.
I think the team has done a good job when it comes to the Citadel, where I don't think the experience is lessened by not doing it. Like I think it's
Sure.
totally fine to have missed. I like that they've done just cosmetics,
Mm.
but it's that weird spot, and I think it's you can't please everybody, right? There's this great bit of content that has these cool mechanics that only gives cosmetic rewards. So then maybe it's not as effective when it comes to getting actual things that you want in your character. So the pool of people playing it is smaller, right? They're going to maybe do it there for their once a week. It's not as, I don't know, this is the have your cake and eat it too kind of thing. It's not as integrated as you would hope. Like, you would hope people would be constantly wanting to do it. But if they constantly want to do it, then it's going to be required.
Right.
Um, what I'm afraid of for content like the Dark Citadel is they may look and say, like, hey, this was a cool idea. The cosmetics weren't enough to draw people in, so maybe we need to not do content like this anymore.
But
Um,
see, and that line of thinking is likely, and also the problem with this development is that that's not the that's not the data like you should pull from this. Right, that is not the data. Like, you have the ability to make very cool cosmetics. I've seen the Warcraft anniversary stuff. I definitely got a set of it. It looks sick. Why can't I have a set that's like that cool? Not that exact thing, but like a set that's that cool. Why can't you put development assets that you've spent like hard work on, that look beautiful in these things that are unique to the Dark Citadel? Because that would be incentive, right? Like the amount of coins you need to get these weapons is a lot. It would take multiple weeks. You can just grind Dark Citadel at a much lower return rate, but you can do it to get more coins if you want to do it like a Diablo player. But it's the equivalent of, like, for anyone that has played an MMO or played a World of Warcraft specifically, it's the equivalent of like launching LFR raid the same day as raid. They don't do that. They don't ever do that, because they're very different. Like, one, difficulty levels, and two, attention spans. And someone who's queuing into a group finder to do Dark Citadel isn't the same as your buddy who you've done it 4 weeks in a row with. There's a big disparity there. And I would like to see those separated a bit more. But honestly, just put some of those assets you guys are spending a lot of time and effort on into those things. You realize I PvP every season, and I PvP a lot every season. And we haven't had new cosmetics since June 6th of 2023. I still do it. It's fun. right? It'd be sick if any of those sets came to those cosmetic vendors. And that was like the pull for me, is that like I don't care about progress with everything that I do. I care about the fun that I'm having. Um, at some point in every Diablo game, be it Diablo 4, Diablo 3, Diablo 2, right? You run out of progress, right? Or the amount of power gain starts to shrink drastically. So you have to have fun in the gameplay loop that you're in. And I think that they're really doing a good job of finding fun loops in that end game and what we're doing. I just want to see some of those awesome cosmetic rewards come to like the earned track and not just the $30 cosmetic shop track. That would be my biggest request, probably.
I think that's fair, and I think that's something that's been brought up before. We never really had cosmetics you could grind for
Mm-hmm.
outside of the winter event last year, right? There was the midwinter event. You
Hmm.
could go and grind to your heart's content for different back pieces, different weapons, and you could choose what your reward was. And I felt the pull for all of them. I got all of those because while I was doing it, I was also engaging with a boss fight. There were
Mm-hmm.
goblins running around left and right. It was a great way to level up an alt and to, get some aspects that I didn't have or whatever. I don't feel that same pull with the Dark Citadel because I think you're spot on. Like the cosmetics aren't as engaging. I'm not like pointing to something and saying like, "Oh, I got to get that. That would be sweet."
Right.
So if I don't have that, then uh, I can get the gear somewhere else that's more effective and doesn't require other people. I think to make the Dark Citadel be as big of a draw as it is, I think you do need that. I think you're spot on. Like I think you need good cosmetics that like even
Yeah.
just one armor set. Design a separate armor set for the Citadel that would take, math it out. Like for one piece, it would be 6 weeks worth of the Citadel or whatever it is. Yeah, I'm all for it. I'll go in weekly to kind of have that happen
I mean,
because
guys,
I
well,
mean,
sorry, just real quick on that point. I play World of Warcraft, and for 20 years, I've tried to get the same mount every Halloween because there's just a chance I can get it. And guess what? I still don't have, and my buddy who's been playing for a lot less time got this week. And guess who's not bitter about that? Anyway, sorry.
that's a headless horseman mount.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. It's fine.
Oh man, I have that.
Of course you do.
yeah,
Some
I've
people
I've
have
had
luck.
I've had that for a very long time.
Yep, I know. My friends linked me their little cosmetics from 2007 and whatever. I know.
Um,
Life's pain, okay?
I'm sorry. I'm so,
yeah,
but I
It's
th
fine.
I think you are spot on
Uh,
too. Like going back to it though, they did an event like a week or two after saying like, hey, do the Citadel. It was the pop up, and you'll get this mount. I was like, oh
Hmm.
sweet, I'm going in there. I'm gonna get that mount. And then it turned out it was the mount I had already got from the first week for doing the Citadel. It's like, guys, why didn't you tell me that? Why didn't you tell me that up front? Like, no, no, not you, Xanth. You've already got this. You don't need to come here anymore. I got tricked into doing the Dark Citadel for a mount I already had. And that tells you something. I don't even pay that much attention to the mounts I have, but
You want
I'm willing to do
them
more
to
for
get more.
ones that I didn't know I had.
Yeah.
So that's how we fix it. And yeah, we'll get you the mount. And then well, let's
I I think one of the other things is that like cosmetics in this game just don't feel the same, as opposed to like World of Warcraft. Because like
Yeah.
in WoW, I'll just sit in a hub city, on a mount or something like that, and people can look at my gear, or I'll look at, well, what is this person wearing, or oh, that's a really cool transmog that they have on. But like in Diablo, not only is it just there going to be fewer people in town, like I don't really notice them. Like that, it just being the isometric. Like
Yeah, it's so far. Yeah.
I have my cosmetic, and I know my cosmetic. I don't see mine, while I'm playing the game, but I know what it is. I bring up the menu and I can see my character, and it's like that nice little aesthetic. But there's no like showing off. I don't know if that's just like a me thing that I'm not really paying attention to what other people have like on their gear. Maybe a little bit like for like a world boss timer or something.
Well, yeah, when you're standing around doing nothing for a while,
I
and that's the
think,
thing is
yeah.
Diablo is not a game where you stand around and do nothing very often.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's just it doesn't seem the game is this isn't like a Diablo issue. It was more of like an ARPG issue that it's like you know that I think that's why like there's like the big controversy when Diablo 4 was like first announced that people were going through and ragging on the inventory icons, because that's where you see your item, is it in your inventory or actually on your character sheet, not so much actually like on your character, is kind of like where it is. And so then applying that to someone else's character, and I really can't be bothered, to like zoom in and look at somebody.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's probably one of those things that's like, I'm not sure how cool they could make them to really pull in people to want to do it. Obviously, yeah, if they make it something along the lines like the Warcraft Legends sets, and they do, like I'm rocking the Lich King, obviously. But maybe just something more substantial, like a special like glyph or an aspect or something that you can purchase, from there, that's only purchasable from there, that at least would give you incentive to want to do it for a couple of weeks or a week or two at the beginning of every season. It doesn't have to be anything like, overpowered or special, or even just if it's like, gambling with a higher chance at, mythic uniques, that it gives you that you spend those coins to just gamble, that has a better chance or something along those lines, like get people more involved, but just something a bit more substantial. Because like we've talked about, I don't feel bad not having done it, because I really don't. I don't. The cosmetics and stuff like that don't really bother me. So
Yeah. And you wouldn't even notice you were missing out on the mount you would get at the end anyway. So
yeah.
it's fine. Um, I'm rocking the lion, by the way. I got the lion for all the Akarat shrines, and it's pretty sweet. What kind
I'm
of tin
rocking
cat
a
you guys
lion.
got?
I'm doing one of the cats too.
Invincible.
Oh, well, of course.
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I just had like the black cat you could buy from one of the random vendors. I saw it looked the coolest. I wanted a leopard one, and I didn't want like a white one, so I was like, the black one's cool. I feel like I'm riding Bagheera. Awesome.
And what wow skins did you buy? Because I got the Spearborn and the Druid.
Oh, I bought Kael'thas the moment I saw it, like immediately. But that was a while ago.
Do I have to say Lich King again?
No, you don't. We
You
know.
can, I feel like
Yeah.
it's
And,
a lot.
and I guess and I guess technically invincible.
Right.
Yeah, true.
I also had a boatload of platinum where I didn't feel bad spending it. I was like,
Yeah, I got it with the
yes,
expansion. Like when I bought the bigger
right.
version, it gave you the platinum. Yeah.
I'm like, yes, I do want that, and I'm going to get it. So I feel okay with it. Okay. So Dark Citadel aside, one of the things I was looking forward to the most, and I enjoyed the most in the review period, was Undercity. Now that
Hmm.
you guys have got a chance to dabble, what are your thoughts?
I like it, but it's I mean, I don't know if it's this is really silly. I like the sound effects. I really like the sound effects when you get things in it. Like it's very satisfying. It feels super arcadey. It definitely feels like I'm at an arcade, like playing a game and like, ooh, power up, right? Like it definitely feels like that when I'm playing it. But no, I like it for sure. It's really easy. And I'd like to see. I feel like the rewards don't always feel great, and I know that was adjusted already, but I think it still needs a little bit of tweaking. But I think the mode is fun, and the everything in there is fun. It's just that it doesn't always feel worth it. I do it every time there's a whisper, but I want to like grind the Undercity or feel like I want to, and I feel like, well, I mean, honestly, right now Paragon is so king, and it's just there's just no good way. There's no good way to grind Paragon once you hit a certain point. So besides Pit and stuff, but yeah, it's fun. I've definitely enjoyed it so far.
My biggest complaint is that I don't know. It's just because I do have a much more limited playtime than you guys. I'm only like 130ish in my Paragon. I don't come across many of the offerings. And yeah, I'll still go through and do the Undercity when the Whisper comes up, because that seems worth it for for the five Whispers. But beyond that, like, I just so infrequently get the offerings that I don't feel incentivized to go there without an offering in order to go and do it. Maybe I'm just doing wrong content. But it's just one of those ones. I haven't really interacted with it all that much outside of that.
Well, that's fair. I still really like it. I like that customizable content, and you're absolutely right. It is really quick on a Spiritborn. I mean, everything is quick on a Spiritborn, which is a nice sidestep here, guys. Why doesn't my werewolf on Druid play like a Spiritborn? Like the werewolf should be zipping around. Like I've been thinking about this a lot. I'm not saying the Druid should be as fast as the Spiritborn. What I'm saying is it should be like as fast. It should just have like a little bit of that when it's in werewolf form. Not all the time, because then it would just be a Spiritborn. But just like a little bit of that. Just a little bit. Because I've killed 3 Spiritborn now. 3. Uh, I've leveled 1 Druid to 40. And it's because it's super slow. Not as fun. So we got to fix that. We don't. Sorry, we can't fix it.
No, it's our individual responsibilities. Tomorrow, it must be done.
I'm not going to be able to do it. It is still my
Can't make the
favorite
deadline.
class. It is still my favorite class. It's just, yeah. 108, gentlemen. 108. It's okay. We're gonna be okay. Those we're getting down to the end here. Any last thoughts? Any things on your mind about Diablo?
Seething opals suck, and you don't get them enough. Like, I need more of those, and I hate farming realm walkers to get them. And that still doesn't feel great. Even with the buff to the speed of the realm walker and all that stuff, I don't think that's great. I mean, this seasonal mechanic has been super blah. And I don't think it's a terrible idea. I think thematically and contextually looks cool and great and is super, super cool. It just feels kind of bullshit, honestly. Which makes sense. They're launching a whole expansion. It's like they shouldn't have launched the season at the same time as the expansion. They probably should have just divided and conquered a bit better there, but here we are. Yeah, that's really it. Other than that, I'm still enjoying the expansion. My playtime's slowed down a lot as work ramps up quite a bit for me for the next month, 2 months. But I'm still playing that, and I'm gonna hit Paragon 300 before the season's over. That's my plan. And I will play a Spiritborn afterwards if there's time. We will see.
There won't be. You'll get a couple days.
I do agree. I think Realm Walkers could be better. For the complaints that I felt like rushed and that I was missing out at the beginning of the season while playing through the story and missing out on the seasonal content. That once I've had everything unlocked, and then I just forget to do Realm Walkers until I was just like, oh, I don't have the clicky thing in my inventory anymore. I guess I should probably go and do one of those.
Now you got to go farm for them. Jesus.
Yeah. So, yeah, could be better. Not. I think like you mentioned, earlier in the show, sitting around and waiting is not a very like Diablo or just ARPG thing in general, and so having to sit around and wait for it to spawn, then not sit around but follow it and wait for it to die, or to become killable. is another issue, and then after that it's fine, but yeah, I think it's just too there's too much time involved. It's so much of a time sink, in order to actually like go through and try and engage with that mechanic.
As a mechanic, it feels like one, it's very missable, but I have to work to engage with like way more than I have in any other season, and I don't care for that. I got this narrow window to go find one or two of them and fight them to then go into another dungeon, and I'm not going to. I just haven't felt the need. Even during the review period, I didn't feel the need to kind of engage with it. I was more intrigued with everything else. It just it doesn't feel as strong as previous seasons, especially considering we're coming off of two real good, strong seasons before it. Obviously, like Infernal Hordes are still amazing. When I'm running and playing, I want to be in an Infernal Horde. It just feels good. Even if the
Yeah,
loot isn't as good as it used to be, it still is like it's a good system. I like
It's fun to
that.
play.
I
It's fun
Yeah.
to play.
yeah. I will eat crow on this one because prior to that season I was going through and saying that I wasn't all that big on the mechanic, and I'm thoroughly impressed. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy
Yeah.
the hordes. I blow through all of my compasses whenever I go through and grab them. It's probably one of the pieces of content that I enjoy the most.
I love the idea of the realm walkers, and like if you think about the reverse engineering of it, I think about that all the time when I'm doing it. Is like because it's like you sit there and you wait, right? You're waiting. Realm walker's right there. You're waiting. Oh, now he comes out of the ground, and now like 3 or 4 monsters come out at a time. And I like to think there's like this whole army of demons in hell just waiting in a portal. And there's like one crossing guard who's like, okay, yep, nope, just those 4. Nope, hang on, hold, hang on, hang on, nope, we need to wait. Okay, okay, now 4 more. Oh, nope, don't. You're right. Like, imagine if that portal just poured enemies, like a portal from hell you would expect to, right? That would be cool. It would be super fun. It's just really stupid that there's like, no, too many enemies. Let's just go a little bit at a time here. Feels really dumb.
Well, we're not going to solve much, and I don't think we solved
We're no,
anything tonight.
we're no help. We're no help. Oh, we
What?
did solve the pop crisis, guys. We got to bring back pop. That's the real important takeaway from the podcast.
I don't
Start
drink a
saying
lot of
pop,
pop,
everybody.
so
My my favorite Coke is Pepsi.
I've got sparkling water. Um, I can't really call that pop. That doesn't feel right. But you know what? Maybe we'll do it. Screw it. Everything's a pop now. We're bringing
Everything's
it
a
back
pop.
all the way. It's good to be trendsetters. It's good to break the mold. All right,
Yeah.
gentlemen. Uh, Before we start any new trends, let's close it out as we always do with a moo moo moo.
Moo moo moo.
Moo moo moo.